Why haven't I had any close friends during my school years? This is something I've been asking myself for a long time. Each morning after meditation, I would writing to conclude my own thoughts. I was an extremely awkward child in social interactions. The more I was at school and in contact with people, the more I needed time alone in the forest near my house, dreaming by myself and finding energy to face the busy world. Or perhaps I just needed 1 or 2 books to spend a quiet day. This confused me, and I began to wonder if I was antisocial or had some deficiency. I love people. I always love people. Their stories, ideas, their flaws, as well as their dreams. But talking about all sorts of things in the world is something I feel is beyond my reach. I thought the problem was that I spent too much time alone. So when I entered late adolescence, I recreated myself, pushing back the part of me that only wanted a cozy night at home in exchange for going to clubs and fun nights out. However, this was in the context of an increasingly socialized mental landscape, where the image of an individual seeking knowledge was replaced by the figure of sitting in the middle of the market and watching what people are discussing. I don't know when gossip became a new normal, where each day with drama is a fun day. The private lives of a few become the life of an entire community. I found it difficult to find someone comfortable enough to share my vulnerabilities, leading to the heartfelt conversations I longed for. I often felt that I made others uncomfortable when sharing emotions, but I knew there were many people like me out there. The answer, unsurprisingly, was simply patience, and remembering that finding a soulmate can take a lifetime. Eventually, I found some very precious souls who largely contributed to my sense of belonging, and vice versa. But during the period without friends throughout childhood and most of adulthood, I began to realize something very interesting. I wasn't as bothered as I thought. Throughout the early school years, through high school, and even most of college, I completely didn't feel like I had friends, despite having some close acquaintances. So I truly accepted the idea of quality over quantity. And I also accepted the idea that if there are times in life when you feel disconnected, feel like you haven't met your people, see that as a beautiful time that can have many meanings and benefits. And you might even realize that you enjoy spending time with yourself. And that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. It doesn't mean you're lacking anything. I enjoy meditation and prayer, in silence, where something is being transformed. Each person carries an atmosphere, and from just a few first meetings, you'll know if you can breathe it or not. Some people make it very difficult to breathe, and some make it incredibly easy. Compatibility is first about matching each other's living environments. I still need to connect with people like joining book clubs and other activities, but when it comes to close soulmates, I understand it will take many years to find them. A soulmate for me is sitting next to each other and your heart is silent. 2 people together, saying nothing, and I just want to hold each other like that. Feelings remain gentle without erosion. What we remember most are memories that cannot be expressed in words, but felt through the body. Mozart once said about music, music is not in the sounds, but in the silence between those sounds. Silence creates many sounds. Sometimes it makes us uneasy, sometimes restless, sometimes exciting, and sometimes completely peaceful, like a child lying in its mother's arms. Meditation is a way to get closer to yourself, because in an environment with little disturbance, you'll hear yourself speaking the most. We often use external voices to distract from our inner voice. You need to divert yourself to avoid being too intimate with yourself. The fear of looking deeply within, psychophobia, in an increasingly extroverted society, is the fear of getting to know yourself. The inner world is completely familiar, but also very tangled. But without going into it, we'll always be lost. Being introspective is a direction to go, not just a personality type. After a long time, I finally realized that just blending into the crowd doesn't mean more joy. I feel very satisfied sitting for hours painting or baking. That's how to make friends with yourself. What do we lose when we blend into the crowd? What do we lose when instead of focusing on ourselves, we focus on what the crowd feels? Can joy from the crowd make us happy? A society in general, and a mind in particular, instead of being eager to understand, becomes very sensitive to rustling in the grasslands. What then? Will the wise still seek quiet places? Will the foolish still come to noisy spaces? Because living is waiting, we must always have faith in silence. After silent moments, everything always changes, whether for better or worse. Silence pushes them away, but also pulls us closer. What do they want to say when they don't speak? The hardest thing to do is to do nothing, and the hardest thing to say is to speak silence. I wandered off in a good way, then thought about the saying, "Not all who wander are lost," right?